Welcome. Today I'm going to go over the first gen Subaru WRX from 1992 to 2000. I'll go over a brief breakdown of the Mi9 GC8, then break down its common issues to better educate you about your ride or your future purchase. Let's get started. Now, this can get a bit confusing. All WRX models start with the chassis code GC8. Then to make it a bit more complicated, Subaru threw in more letters into the mix to indicate different variations of the GC8, like the GCA or the version 1 to the GC8G or the version 6 or the 6 update. So it can get a bit complicated. The GC8A G represents Impreza, C represents Sedan, and 8 represents EJ20, the engine. The GC8A is the first model of the WRX, and it has 237 horsepower from its 2-liter boxer motor and an all-wheel drive drivetrain with both a viscous center and rear limited slip diff. The Euro market received a rebadged WRX, the Impreza GT, and the Impreza Turbo 2000 for the UK market, which had 208 horsepower. The Impreza GC8B received updated rotors. They swapped from ventilated rotors to solid rotors, and here came the intro of the STI with 247 horsepower, as well as the intro of the 217 horsepower hatchback. The Subaru Impreza GC8C received another power boost of 256 horsepower from the base WRX and upgraded ventilated rotors with 16-inch wheels. The Impreza GC8D received more power with 276 horsepower, which dynoed more closer to 296 horsepower, but at the time there was a Japanese gentleman agreement, which resulted in many JDM manufacturers underreporting their horsepower, and there was stunning updates. The GC8E was the launch of the second most expensive Subaru ever sold to this date, right behind the race car edition, the 22B STI. Had a wide body kit, 17-inch BBI wheels, STI brakes, and an electronically controlled center diff. In 2020, one of the 422Bs sold for $370,000 with 271 miles. The race car edition sold for around $800K. GC8F, there weren't really any updates to the base WRX. The GC8G was the final update, and it received new wheels, colored handles and mirrors, and intermittent wipers and remote locking. This WRX is renowned in the rally stages, winning 3 World Rally Championships back to back, but success didn't stop there. They even excelled well in other motorsports. With age, issues pop up. With all cars, and that's especially the case with the Subaru because we can't expect Toyota Corolla reliability. Instead, save up a little bit of money for issues to come. All WRXs use some sort of EJ20 motor. And with the cars being all-wheel drive, people usually drive them pretty spirited and kind of push them to their limits, so keep that in mind. Head gaskets are a common failure, especially with age. The first gen typically develops an internal head gasket leak, which results in poor lubrication of the engine due to oil becoming diluted with coolant and ultimately overheating. If coolant is getting low randomly and the oil is milky, like a milkshake, expect a head gasket leak and you'll need to change out the head gasket, which is not an easy job to do. Rod knock is also an issue. The motor has an issue cooling evenly throughout the block, so the fourth cylinder typically goes bad and develops that knock. It starts as a cold start knock, then ultimately develops to a all the time knock, then ultimately morphs to it knocking all the time. This would require an engine rebuild, so updating a cooling system should prevent this. Sticking brakes. The early cars with single piston brakes can stick. I'd upgrade the brakes to a later year. Rust is a common issue around the wheel arches and on the frame, so check that. It is not unheard of the rust from the wheel arches hitting the struts in the back, so if that happens, the entire car is compromised, so I'd probably look at another example if you're looking to buy one. There are other issues like oil leaks from the rocker cover, rear main seal leaking, diff leaking, and all that fun stuff. However, that's all common with cars of age. If you're checking one out, be sure to check all the fluids, that's important. And the manual transmission can feel a bit notchy from years of use, but that's normal and just fine. And this car is a collectible, and as time goes by, the price of the car will also rise. So if you're looking to modify it, keep that in mind as well. The GC8 WRX was never sold in the US. And you might be wondering, why did I go over a car that we don't have in the States? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this one and look forward to the Bug Eye edition. This is Chris Automotive. I always appreciate and respect one another. I'll see you next time.